Hey,
Hi,
hi.
Floyd. I'm
Wow.
good. Oh my God, this is
You know
insane.
what? This is interesting. Actually, Donna Marie Reed, who is absolutely amazing, has joined us, and we had a similar situation. So this is what should have occurred last week when I saw this. So I said, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. So
Oh,
we have gotten it together.
thank
It
you.
took some stuff, but we're here. So hopefully your followers will, be ready to join in with everything. So what I'm going to do is, since we're on something slightly different, I'm going to read your bio again. So I just have to actually pull your bio up on my phone.
Okay, awesome.
And then once we do that, we're going to
Awesome.
I love technology. Technology can work with you and it can also work against you. And this is one of those days, again, where it's kind of working against me. But you know what? This is a lesson, ladies and gentlemen, that you better be ready to pivot. You better be ready to pivot because you know what? You never know what could happen. This could be a situation where you're on set and something doesn't go the way that everyone has planned it out. So then what do? You gotta be able to think on your feet. And that's why it's always great, since we're talking to a phenomenal actress, this is the importance of improv classes. This is the
Right.
importance of improv classes because sometimes when you're on stage, you forget that line and your scene partner is sitting there saying, okay, so now what?
That's right.
So it's always good to be prepared. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Welcome to a conversation with Floyd Marshall, and I am joined by the amazing Shukura, the actress, and I am actually trying to pull up her bio because she's done so many amazing things, and I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what she's done. Okay, here we go. So Shukura can be seen in a recurring role of Prison Guard Raina on NBC's New Amsterdam. She can also be seen in her co-starring role in the final season and the final episode of the Netflix's award-winning show Orange is the New Black. Her television and film looping credits include HBO's The Wire and Warner Brothers Pictures' Liberty Heights. Shukura has also starred in both films and web series, including the film Blue Flame, the award-winning 12 Steps to Recovery, The Trade, nominated for the HBO short film competition at the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival, which is an amazing film festival, Pocket Full of Nickels, Te Adoro, and the digital series The Department of Ed. She has a laundry list of national commercials, and I'm just going to name a few: KFC, Nintendo, MCI, Jello, Sony, Kellogg's, Pop Tarts, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. I'm not even going to say that one. Well, OxyPads, and 3 consecutive commercials with Wendy's. They have good shakes. So it took us a while to get here. And I am so happy to finally be talking to you with a good connection, I must
Yes,
say. So,
yes.
Shukura, welcome to a conversation with. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I feel honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. And as I was saying before we switched platforms, we actually met at Emmeline Stewart's October Film Festival a couple of months ago. And the interesting thing is we hit it off right away, which is absolutely phenomenal because for me, everything is about relationships. So when you meet someone new and you kind of have that unspoken symbiotic thing going on right then and there, that's really great. So tell us, Shakura, how did you get started in the business?
Wow. Okay. Well, I got started in the interest in acting, the craft itself, when I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
I took interest in, there was something in my elementary school called the storytelling contest. And every year I just took interest in it, and I would just win every single year. And then by the time I got to the 6th grade, I won for the whole district, opposed to just my school. So I moved on to another level with it. And that was when I was interested since I was 7. And at the age of 11, an art teacher once said to me, she said, you should be an actor. And I got so excited because it was the first time like anybody said that. And I said, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to be. And she introduced me to an acting teacher, and that acting teacher had me read for her in front of her class, and then recommended that I go to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts here in Manhattan. And I started studying at age 11. So that's how I started in like my studies. In terms of the business, the actual acting business, that was like a few years later in my early 20s, when I got a manager and agents and all that stuff, the acting business. But I started with the love for, the craft of acting. And I was, like I said, I started studying at 11, and I studied consecutive years until I was 18 years old.
Okay. So where did you continue your studies when you got to high school? Was there a performing arts school that you attended in New York, or how did you do that?
Yeah, so ironically, like I said, I started at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts at 11 due to this acting teacher that recommended I go there. And then in my middle school, by the time I got to 8th grade, that same acting teacher relocated and ended up being my acting teacher in my middle school, because I also went to a performing arts middle school. So she pretty much trained me for the whole 8th grade, because we all had to audition for LaGuardia, Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts and Music and Arts. And I was one of the 2 people in my middle school that made it into LaGuardia for acting. So I continued studying there at LaGuardia for 4 more years. And opposed to going to a conservatory to study acting again for college, I went to an acting, SUNY Purchase acting college, but I didn't study acting in the conservatory. And I ended up maybe 2 years later, the acting business came back around to me, and I auditioned for my first show at 21, and I started doing it professionally from there.
So since the age of 21, this has been your only job, acting?
Well, definitely not, because we starving artists have to do many jobs, many odd jobs. Some of my odd jobs are acting, like I do an odd job, standardized patient, where I'm hired by the medical field, doctors, to portray sick patients for their new coming doctors, and I help to test them, to grade them on the way that they interacted with me. It's a very noble job, so that's like an odd job, but I've done many odd jobs besides just acting professionally.
So let's talk about that for a second, because oftentimes when you hear starving artists, you have people saying, well, you know what, that's it, that's all I'm going to do. But from what you're saying, that's not realistic. And, there's nothing wrong with actually having something outside of the acting in order to sustain you. Would I be correct in that?
Well, I think when people say that's all I'm going to do, I think that maybe refers to when people say you've got to have a fallback, meaning that they should study something else. They should think about another career. So just in case the acting doesn't work out, you can fall back on this. That's different than somebody who's dedicated their lives to a certain craft, be it acting, dancing, singing, whatever it is, and they're pretty much doing whatever it takes to survive because everything circles around that craft. So since I was 21, I could say I have never missed an audition because I had a real job.
Right.
Whatever I do is just to like pull it together, like financially, but an audition has never, ever, ever been missed because I'm doing something else. Because the whole reason why I'm doing those other things is so I can act. So I would never do that gig. Like I've never had a 9 to 5.
Okay.
As since I was 25, like a real job. Like it's just a hustle, make it happen to sustain, my career.
Okay. So basically, and this is something that I like to say all the time, when people say, I'm going to have a plan B, I say, for me, a plan B does not exist, but my plan A is fluid. My plan A is fluid. My plan A changes. It may divert somewhat, but it's always plan A, because in my thinking, and this is just me, in my thinking, when you have a plan B, you're giving yourself a way out. You're giving yourself a way out. And if you're going to go all in, you just have to have the mindset that this is what I'm going to do. I don't care how I do it. And I'll just give you an example. I've been in public transportation for 28 years. And when I finally got a manager, she would say, okay, well, you need to be in New York at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, I have a job. And she basically said, let me explain something to you. I'm sending you out on auditions. It's very hard to get you in a room. So you need to make a decision. So what I ended up doing was working overnight.
Right.
So I would be working, driving the bus from midnight to 8 in the morning, and then changing in my car, driving up 95 to get to the train station to get to New York.
There you go.
So can you speak to that, the fact that you really have to put in the work in order for this thing to work? Because you have a lot of people, they come out of school, and I was listening to Oprah Winfrey the other day, and she said one of the things with young people is they want it all right now, not understanding that there's a process to this. And you say you've been doing this since the age of 7, and I don't think you're where you want to be. Would I be correct in that?
No, you are. Like, I mean, I haven't I want my career to be on a certain level that it is not, it is not yet. And I say yet because fingers crossed, this is what I want. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? You have to, as I like to say, you have to manifest it.
Right. And you have to put in the work. You have to, like, acting is one of those things that you just have to, like, you got to keep pushing at it, keep on. It's not something that would just like fall in your lap. Although some people are fortunate enough, you have these stories, like, for example, say models, they're walking down the street and somebody scouts a model, you're gorgeous, but that's not, typical story, but it does happen. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason for this, game. There's no rhyme or reason, you just have to, for me, be passionate. You're passionate about it, and you manifest it. It'll happen. And I'm very grateful for the success that I have had along the way. Many successes, although I'm not, on the level I'd like to be, and I will hopefully be one day. But you just you gotta love it. You gotta love it to do it.
You definitely do. So let's talk a little bit about. You've had some commercial success, because again, as I read your biography or your bio, and I didn't read everything as far as the commercials go. So then how did you get into commercial acting? How did that come about?
Right. And again, it's not even like commercial acting. It's just a part of the whole big scheme. It's just like whatever comes up.
Right.
Like, and earlier in my career, like when I first started, I started in theater, a lot of different theater pieces. And then from there, I was fortunate to meet a manager, and the majority of the auditions that I was sent out on were for commercials. I mean, ultimately, I've always, I just want to do like acting, stage, film, television, things like that. My passion is TV and film, but also theater. But, nonetheless, that's what door opened for me. They sent me on a lot of commercial audition, and I booked numerous commercials and the legit auditions, the film and TV auditions that I was sent out on, like I would say about 90%, if not even a little more, of those auditions, few and far between, mind you, but I was called back for. So I only had like a little opportunity. Like I would get sent out on a few film and TV roles, but the majority of them I'd be down to the last few. So I was always my entire career just seeking representation to send me out on more auditions so I can book. And it took numerous years, and I still don't really have that. But I finally decided, I said, when I got the opportunity to audition again with an agent many years after that, I said, okay, well, I just guess I'm going to have to try to knock out one of these 3 auditions per year. And I did. And one, it was New Amsterdam, and it was just a few lines in New Amsterdam, just a few lines. And then on the day of the set, they said, we're really sorry, but the lines, now you have just one line. And that one line was one word. And for me, it was like all these years, and I finally, NBC, what was a pilot at the time, so, it wasn't, they didn't pick it up yet, but I'm like, yes, this one word, I'm going to say this word like it's Shakespeare, like it's the best word in town. I got my character. I was like, okay, why is she saying this word and everything? And I said it with all my heart. I didn't care if it was one word or whatever.
Right.
And the director, she said to me, oh, don't worry, we'll have you back. And, in this business, people say all kinds of things. And, I thought, okay, that's nice of you to say. But to my surprise, it was the show was picked up. New Amsterdam now, it's a very successful show on NBC. And they wanted me to do 2 more episodes the same season. I was surprised. I was happy with the one. And, there were more lines, and I was good with that. And then the second season, they called me back, and there was another episode. Then the third season, they called me back. And the third season, it was another one-word line, which through me improvising turned into snippets, like 4 different clips of different dialogue that I just, came up. My character just came up with. So it's all good.
So I heard a couple of things in there while you were running that down. The fact that you had trained and put yourself in a position that if something happened, you were ready. You get the audition for New Amsterdam and you get one line and you're frustrated, but
not really frustrated. I was grateful.
Okay. See, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It really was.
You know what? I want you to talk about that, because oftentimes when people think things are supposed to go a certain way and they don't, that kind of throws them off their game. They get discouraged. Well, this is not what I signed up for. Whereas in your case, you said, you know what? I'm on set. I got a line.
That's right.
I'm going to rock out with that. And because of that, that led to more things, because the energy, and I firmly believe in energy, the energy that you put out was so positive that the universe was like, yo, we gotta go with that. Because again, a lot of people would just be, I've been at this for I don't know how long, and you mean to tell me all I'm getting is a one line?
One word.
One word, not even a line.
Yeah,
So you
the
took
line
that one
turned
word,
into one word.
You took that one word and turned it into a recurring role on New Amsterdam. And that's where it started, with the one line. And
With the
that
one
spoke
word.
to your training, because even though it was one word, you took that one word and said, I'm going to give that one word a backstory.
Absolutely. I did. I did. I was thinking, why would I see? Because the word was gate. She's a prison officer, and it was like a few lines that turned into one word, gate. And I said that line right after there was a black doctor, Jocko Sims. He's very, very nice. I like Jocko a lot. He plays, I forget the character, but the doctor there. And then it was Janet Montgomery, I believe the last name is. So they were having a relationship in season 1, and he was just breaking it to her. New Amsterdam is such an innovative show. He was breaking it to her that the reason why they can't see each other anymore. And she's pretty much like, well, why? And he's like, because you're not black. So yeah, because it's like he wants another black woman to be in a relationship with. So I figured in my character, right, I'm the prison guard, and she already has this. I already gave her a whole backstory of who she is and everything. So at the audition, I gave her that. So it was like, I'm thinking with this situation, she's saying gate, but she's looking at him like, she's like, this dude, black, like white girl. She doesn't know the whole story, but she's looking at him, and she's just kind of like, looking him up and down and everything. So when she said gate, it was kind of like the frustration to him, like gate. So it was a backstory to it.
Right.
It was just one word, but that's what I did with it, because that's what Raina thought, So I was just happy to be acting. I'm like, I have a line.
I know that's right. Donna Reese said you worked that word like a chicken bone.
Well, thank you, Donna. Thank you so much.
but it's so funny, but it reminds me if you've seen the movie Why Did I Get Married 2, and when they were all sitting at the dinner table and Tasha Smith says boom. We lost her for a second.
Okay. Are you there, Floyd? Okay.
I'm here.
Am I not? Okay. So, everything okay?
You're fading a little bit. I can hear you, but I can't really see you. Okay, Twinkie said that was the first one. So, no, I can hear you. I can hear you fine. So, Tracy said that was the first one. So, when Tasha's at the table and she says, boom, that was one word, but that one word conveyed so much. So, actors really need to understand that sometimes you don't need an entire paragraph to get a point across.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
That you don't need an entire paragraph to get a point across. Of course not. Of course not. It's not about how many words, how little, how few words. It's about the motivation. It's about the character themselves. It can be a lot of words. Great. You can be the star, or you could just be, one person with one word. It doesn't matter. It's like there's a Stanislavski, acting teacher, great thespian. He says the quote, there are no small parts, only small actors. And it's
Yes.
true. It's true, because we're all a part of this. I know, this is a business. So, there's all this nonsense. Oh, this is a big part. This is a small part. This is the whatever part. No, it's like we're all playing. We're like playing a game, and everybody's in it, and somebody threw the ball to me. So I want to throw it back properly. We're all in it. So it doesn't matter if I have, I have a lot of words in this game. I have a little word. It doesn't matter. It's about what I'm bringing forth. It's a character. I'm a character actor. It's character based.
And you know what? That is, oh my gosh. I love that you said that, because people, when they say I got a small part, no, it's a part. Because if that part wasn't important, it wouldn't be in the film. It wouldn't be in the television show. And when I was in the Navy for 4 years, and I worked on helicopters. And these are multi-million-dollar pieces of machines. And it's this
Yeah.
little thing called a cotter key that when you twist the wire to keep everything in place, the screw has a hole in it. And you have to insert that cotter key into the hole because, you know, helicopters vibrate, airplanes vibrate. And if you don't have that cotter key in the hole and the airplane is vibrating, the screw could come
Mhm.
out. The cotter key is
Right.
about the cotter key is about this big. They have different sizes, but the ones that I worked with were normally about this big.
Right.
Something that small, and I'm just using small, is that important. So when people say, well, they kind of lessen the importance of what it is that they're doing. So if
Mhm.
you were talking to actors, what would you say to them if that was the type of mindset that they were bringing into an audition? That, well, you know what? It's only one word, and I'm not really feeling that because it's only one word. What would you say to an actor or an actress that brought that type of mindset to an audition?
Right. Well, first, in this business, you know, it's a blessing to get like any sort of part. Like it's like in terms of say the most successful people, the most famous people, there aren't a whole bunch of them to begin with.
Hmm.
Then I mean just in this game to get any sort of work in this game is a big deal. And you got
Hmm.
to big yourself up because it's also a very like egotistical and arrogant, self-centered business, not the craft, but the business. So, you know, there may be, you know, the thought of like, that's not a very big part or, you know, whatever. Forget about all that stuff. If you're in it for the passion of the craft, you know, forget about that. You're grateful, you got yourself a part and you work that to the best that you can work it, you know, and in time you will be where, you know, you need to be. You will gain more success, on and so forth. In terms of somebody bringing, you know, the attitude that, oh, it's just a small part, like, you know, don't think of it that way. Just start at yourself as an actor, you know, first. Like, this is what I do, this is what I bring to it, and let me just you know, again, I start from the character itself, and this is what the character said. Sometimes it's like, for example, there's that movie Girl Interrupted, Winona Ryder, Angelina
Yes.
Jolie. Now, Winona Ryder was the star of that movie. It was like based on, you know, her character was the center. But Angelina Jolie, she comes in, she's got this whole other thing, and like her performance, like really shined a lot. And you know, it could be not that she had a small part by any
Hmm.
means, but it's like it doesn't matter what size it is; it's what you bring to it. And again, it's like you're not bringing to it like, oh, I'm bringing it to outshine. No, if you're just true to it, you know, you never know. So don't sweat if it's a line or two lines or if it's big or small. Just do what you love. That's what I say.
I love talking to you.
Thank
I
you.
love talking to you because you're dropping so many truth bombs that it's not funny. And sometimes when you're talking to actors, you get a little frustrated because this is everything that you've been talking about. Sometimes they just don't understand that. And sometimes that they don't understand that it's a process and that it's a journey.
Hmm.
So that it may start, because guess what? As they say, the journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first one.
Right.
So that full length script that you may someday be doing may start with that one word. And if
Right.
you look at a lot of actors that are really shining today, if you look back at their body of work, they did not start where they are.
Hmm.
You know, it takes a while for you to build a house. You don't just
Right.
plop the house down in the middle of the lot. You got to pour the concrete. You gotta lay the foundation. And that one word, or learning how to convey that one word, because that is extremely important. Because
Hmm.
somebody's like gay, but
Right.
you packed so much, and I'm sure that when they saw that, they were like, wow, see, we have to bring her back.
Oh,
We have to
great.
bring her back because you packed so much into that one word. That because you know what? Now, and I've been married for a long time, and sometimes my wife can say one thing, and I get the entire point, and she said one word. I'm like, shit, I'm in trouble. So sometimes that one word will convey quite a bit. But let's switch gears a little bit. You auditioned for that cowboy movie that was on Netflix. I saw your
Yes,
audition.
yes, yes. The harder they fall. That's right. That's right.
So
I was excited
how did
about
that
that.
how did that come about? Is that something that your manager set up?
Yes, that's at the time. Right now. I'm not represented. I don't have an agent or a manager. But at the time, my manager sent me out on that audition. I wanted to get that because I just really liked that character. Like
Hmm.
I just really liked her, and I thought I could play with it a lot. But hey, what can you say?
So, well, you didn't get it, but that's okay. But what did you take from the audition?
What did I take? I mean, I was just grateful to be seen to begin with. But
Hmm.
what do you mean exactly? What I take from it?
So the fact that because oftentimes, again, see, I like asking you these type of questions because you're very truthful. Oftentimes, when people don't get that, and they say that was mine, I should have gotten it, but just from talking to you now and talking to you when we were in New York, I just don't get that from you at all. Again, you have such a deep well of just gratitude and thankfulness that something that would deter someone, in my opinion, with you, it just gives you fuel to say, hey, you know what? That wasn't for me, but the next one is.
Well, I'll tell you this. First, I want to say that from what we were talking about before, I mean, I do get discouraged. I do get frustrated. So
Mhm.
I'm not like exempt and those things don't happen to me. In terms of The Harder They Fall or any other wonderful, great project, that I've auditioned for, a couple of great things, in the recent past, whatever. But, it's just, what could I say? As the thing is for me, is like, as long as I'm doing my best, the problem is when it's like, I don't do my best and it's like, no, I could have done this. I could have did that. No. As long as I'm doing my thing, who knows? Who knows why I didn't get the part? What could I say? As long as I'm prepared, I'm doing it right. That's all I could say. That's all I could do.
So do you, after you're done an audition, is that it? Do you just leave it there and you move on? You don't take it with you? You don't hang
No,
on to it because sometimes an actor will hang on to it. Like, oh, I should have did this. I should have did that better.
well, I mean, for the harder they fall, that one in particular, that was a self tape.
Hmm.
So I was able to, and I got it professionally done. So I was able to really play with it and, like do it over and over and over again. So I
Okay.
didn't feel like I should have. But oh my God, I've been in this business for a long time. So I have been at a place where I should have done this. I could have done this. I've been at that. I've been in so many different places that now it's just like, look, I'm gonna just do the best I can do at
Right.
this thing, and and that's it. That's all I can do, and the rest really to me is like faith. As long as I keep pushing and I keep doing what I do, it's like when the time is right, it's just gonna come to me. It's just gonna be my part. It's gonna be the right part that's just right for me, and that's gonna be my thing. Until then, just do the best. That's all I could do. That's all I could do. But yes, I felt frustrated. I felt all kinds of ways. And in all these years, are you kidding me? Felt all kinds of ways. I've come up with some people who are very, very successful, very famous people. At LaGuardia, I went there. Marlon Wayans was there.
Oh,
Jennifer
wow.
Aniston was there at the time. Omar Epps was there. Bokeem Woodbine was there. who else is Monifa, the singer? She did a lot of hit songs back in the 90s. There were many. I mean, that school produces some really, really phenomenal talent. You know, I'm very proud to be an alumni. Very, very proud. It's the cream of the crop. You know, I must say, if I do say so myself, it's cream of the freaking crop. So yeah, like I've been very frustrated. These people are famous. Like, you know, I'm like, I want to eat. Like, but it's like I'm doing what I love. You know, I could be like sitting behind a desk, not doing what I love, and saying, "Boy, I wanted to be an actor." Like
Right.
I'm still doing it. You know.
That's beautiful. So you are phenomenal at monologues, and you
Thank
won
you.
what was it, the Episcopal? What was that?
Yes. Episcopal Actors Guild monologue competition over the pandemic. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit. And you know what? This is beautiful because you said during the pandemic, and a lot of people during the pandemic shut it off. And one thing that I said, because actually this podcast started during the pandemic. My thing was there are two groups of people. The people that said, I'm going to sit and I'm going to wait this out, or I'm going to keep it moving. So you did the monologue competition during the pandemic. So how did that come about?
Okay, now during the pandemic, and we're still in the pandemic,
Yeah.
you know, I've gone through a lot of changes during the pandemic, a lot. This whole pandemic, in terms of the acting business, my love, my passion, it has not been the greatest, to be quite honest, and it has put me in a very weird place. I actually throughout the pandemic, that's how I lost representation. I no longer worked with my manager through the pandemic. An agent and I reconnected. We were working together for a while, and then we went our own ways as well. And I'm not represented now, so it's kind of like starting over in a sense. But yeah, but no. During the pandemic, I was terrified, you know, with this whole like Corona nonsense. And it was horrible. And I was auditioning, doing things like the Episcopal Actors Guild, and I was auditioning still, and I was not settled at all.
Okay.
I was not settled. So when the Episcopal Actors Guild that came out, I gave them a monologue audition that I auditioned for something else for, because it fit the 1 minute time period. And I was like, okay, why not? Boom. And I won it, you know, and I was grateful for that. But, you know, not to make it seem like I was just, you know, invigorated and I don't care if it's a pandemic, I'm acting. No, I was, it's a crazy time for me. But, you know, I'm still here.
Okay. So now what are you working on now? What's going on right now?
Right. So right now there's an independent called Assassins, where Kylie Turner, she's the director, writer. It's about 4 Black women assassins, and they have different backgrounds, and so we're working on that right now. It's in like the infant stages right now. And then I also there's also a movie, Derek Zuzunaga, director. It's like a stoner movie, and it's you know, I don't want to give it away because I don't know how much of it, you know, I can tell about it, but it's fun because they're just like completely different people. A stoner film and then assassin, so it's pretty cool. So I'm just like, you know, I'm here, I'm open, independence, you know, I'm meeting with different representations and, you know, seeing what I'm going to do in that department right now. But things are kind of crazy, but I'm still in it.
Well, that's good. That's good. So because when we met, you had mentioned that you were seeking representation. So now
Right.
and this could possibly help because we have a couple of actors on the feed right now. One, he's a phenomenal gentleman right there, Nakia. He's actually on Wonder Years at the moment.
Oh, I know Nakia. How are you, Nakia? Yeah, I know
That's what,
Nakia.
we go way way back. What is your process when you're looking for representation? What are you looking for in representation? So now, are you looking for an agent, or are you looking for a manager, or are you looking for both?
I'm meeting with both agents
Mm-hmm.
and managers just to see, like, who believes in me, who, sees my vision, in the same way as I do, someone who pretty much believes in me and will push me and get me seen, get me rooms.
Okay. Now, I also wanted to touch on something, because I'm about to let you go because I don't want to take all of your time. We were talking earlier about New Amsterdam and your character, Raina, on New Amsterdam. And you were explaining the difference between recurring.
Right.
And what was it?
Well,
So can you
the
talk
thing
about
is,
that? Because that was really interesting how you explained that. Because oftentimes when we're doing our room on Monday with another good friend of mine, Jay Nicole, and Tracy does the room with us as well, actors have questions like the one that you unknowingly answered. So could you explain the differences as far as what recur? Well, you talk about it, because it was kind of, you kind of went into detail with it.
sure, no problem. Okay. Once you have a character on a show, my character is the prison guard. And once that character, is asked back, and they're the same person, the prison guard, then you're recurring. Your character is recurring. But then and then it's a difference to a recurring co-star and then a recurring guest star. Because if you there's on New Amsterdam, for example, there's a gentleman. He's one of the nurses, and he's on almost every episode. Mm-hmm. He's not one of the main doctors where there's like 5 main doctors, but he's one of the main characters. You'll see him on a regular basis. So he's a guest star, recurring guest star. So he's like that. Now, my character is a co-star. A co-star is like where the episode, it doesn't circle around your character, mm-hmm. but you're like a supporting character. And so I've done 5 episodes of New Amsterdam, 3 in the first season, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third. So the character is a recurring, because the character is recurring, but she's a recurring character opposed to a recurring cast member. So it's all these little differences.
Okay. That explains a lot, because sometimes when we're answering questions, though, well, I want a recurring role. That's what I'm going for. And a lot of times, because unbeknownst to me, what you just explained, I had never heard it broken down like that. So you could be actually thinking you're going out for one thing when actually something else entirely different is happening.
Like I just went out for a co-star role. That was it. And the thing about that prison guard is that's all that person was ever going to be is episode 1. If, the pilot got picked up, it was just episode 1 for the pilot. Now, I also did the 3rd episode. The 3rd episode, it was going to be a different prison guard. Prison guard, again, is not one of the main people in the shows about doctors. So it comes to the prison in the hospital just a few times. Mm-hmm. So it would have just been another prison guard. But they liked me as a prison guard the first time go round. So they said, let's just make this is the official prison guard. When the show comes to the prison and the hospital, Prison Guard Raina. And when I first started, I had a generic police badge. It was just a police badge. And then when it was the 2nd episode, it actually said my character's name, Raina.
Oh, wow.
So so happy about that. But yeah, it wasn't even meant to be a recurring role. So I think when those people say they want to be recurring, they may be referring to like series regulars,
Okay.
which are like the main stars of the show. They're the series regular. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
That's what I'd like to do one day. And God willing, those doors will open up for me. But yeah, so that's the difference. There are all these differences.
Okay. Okay. So, gosh, something that we talk about all the time, factors, booking the room as opposed to booking the role. And
Right.
that's exactly what you did. Because
Mm,
oftentimes actors say, I want to book the role. And we're like, book the room. Because when you
mm,
book the room, your one word can turn into 5 episodes.
right.
Because when you leave out, they're saying, you know what? She was phenomenal. She was phenomenal. But can you speak to on set and just having the level of professionalism that you must have being on set, and especially being a person of color on sets?
Got it. Got it. Yeah. By the way, also, this role was written for a male or possible female. So I was up against like all men in the room, and I booked the role opposed to the men, 6 foot tall men, everything. But I booked it. So just want to squeeze that in.
So you
But
booked the room. But you know what? That's great because, see, wow. See, okay, I really hope that people are really listening to what she is saying, because everything that you're saying just speaks to, if you train, if you take the craft seriously, if you respect it, and if you come in prepared. Because I often hear casting directors say they don't know what they're looking for until they find it.
good
So
point.
you're 5'3", you're not 6 feet tall, you're not a man by any stretch of the imagination, but you booked the role. And that was
Yeah.
because you came in ready. So I just want you to speak to the actors, because there are a couple of actors, and actually the young lady that just, K Rose, she is brand new. She hasn't taken any training. She hasn't done anything yet. So can you speak to the new ones and even the veterans about being prepared and taking it seriously and treating that one word as if it was an entire, like you were the actual A-lister of the show? So can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, you must. I mean, if this is what you want to do, if this is what you really want to do, then you just gotta line up, everything, like put all your ammunition in your bag. And part of that ammunition is training, like, get some good classes in there and just go from there. I mean, in terms of, you were talking about professionalism on the set, like, definitely just, I mean, you're just there to focus on, your job for the day, and you just go there. I mean, I was in my trailer the whole time, just, in my mind, getting my mind together, getting my character right, and then, it's your turn. You get on set, and, for me, it's like, before the cameras, start shooting, it's like, I don't, I gotta, like, become the person before, of course they call action. So I just, I'm getting into that person. I'm just getting into the headspace. So by the time they say action, I'm already her. So, you just, be as prepared as you can possibly be. And, just the gratitude of being able to do what I love and make a living.
Wow. Wow. Now, I've done quite a few interviews, and I have to say that this is absolutely have been one of the best conversations that I've had, because I've learned so much. And that is the beauty of this podcast, that although I'm the one that's doing the interviewing, I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning so much, and I'm just so grateful that we had an opportunity to talk. We had some hiccups initially. We had some hiccups, but we worked it out. So before we end this, where can people find you? Where can they follow you?
Okay, so right here on Instagram, you can follow me right here. It's Shukura, and that's SHUKURA, followed by 7 underscores. Also, I am now on Clubhouse. Thanks to
Yes.
you, Floyd. So you can you can follow me there on Clubhouse. Also, it's one name, Shukura. So I just duplicated it twice, Shukura for a lack of a last name. So you can find me on those 2 places. And of
Well,
course, IMDb, you can find me there as well.
well, ladies and gentlemen, please follow Shukura. Please, please, please. And if you know of and you know, I lost my train of thought. If you know of some phenomenal management,
Ah,
put them in touch.
yeah,
Connect, because
agents, managers.
it's all about relationships, and you guys have been poured into today. This has been an absolutely amazing, amazing conversation. I really don't like to call them interviews, because we've just been sitting back having a conversation for the last hour or so. And again, Shukura, thank you so much for coming on the show. I would love to have you back, because there's so many things that I wanted to ask you that I didn't get an opportunity to, because I don't like to monopolize people's time. But let's read a couple of these comments. Normally, because we're not on Instagram, so someone's K Rose said, "Thank you for the conversation and the information given. Much gratitude." So yeah, that's about it. But
Sounds good.
you had some good stuff, girl. You laid it down tonight. So you have to definitely come on Clubhouse, because we have to do a room together, because you have so much information that actors really need to hear, because it was straight no chaser. And I just love that. And so many actors could benefit from your wealth of knowledge, because you've been at this for quite some time. So
Yeah.
Shakira, any closing words?
I just want to thank you. I really do. Thank you for having me. And, I'm very grateful to, be interviewed, have a conversation with you, be out there. It's all I can ask for. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad that you guys decided to spend a little bit of your evening with myself and Shakura. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to hang out with us. And I hope that you were enriched tonight, because I know that I was. And please share this with your friends. This will be on Apple. It'll also be on Google, Breaker, Anchor, and a couple of other spots. And, share, because it's going to be on IGT. Normally it goes to Facebook Live, but it's going to be on IGTV. And I think it'll also be on Facebook Live, Facebook rather. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me and Shakura on a conversation with. Go out there, kick some ass, keep doing it, and everyone have an absolutely phenomenal and amazing night. Take care,
Thank you
everyone.
so much for
Take
joining us.
care.
Okay, Floyd, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.